Chuck Schumer went silent in trying to answer why the Democrats keep messaging saying it's a peaceful protest. It's peaceful, mostly peaceful. Welcome to Doug in Exile. As we go into the deep, dark, evil funding of the big, beautiful, peaceful protest. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Thank you guys for watching. Here's Chuck Schumer being shamed into silence.
Senator, what do Democrats mean when they say that the LA protests are peaceful? Senator, what do Democrats mean when they say the LA protests are peaceful?
Thank you.
Do you consider burning private property peaceful? Senator,
do you consider burning private property peaceful? You know, he's not going to look at him. Hey, everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Make America peaceful again. Their branding is falling apart. The American people don't buy it. They do not buy the Democrat Party. The ones who do buy the Democrat Party are hardcore radical leftists. They are also tax evaders, as we're going to see here with this clip is from Sean Hannity, and it goes into how the cops, these are LA cops now, saying basically LA is just in chaos by anarchists. So this is a formal Marxist philosophy of anarchism. These are the ones largely running these riots.
You know, I'm actually out here in LA. I've been on the ground since Saturday with the folks, seeing this stuff firsthand. And what I can tell you is it's pure anarchy. You know, when you have elected leaders saying that it's peaceful, and as long as you dodge the burnt cars, or, you know, no one's been shot, no one's been hit in the head, that's totally wrong. I can
Chuck Schumer, he's talking to you, the politicians that say it's mostly peaceful.
tell you from firsthand experience what the brave men and women of ICE, the brave men and women of the Department of Justice, all our federal partners, and the brave men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department have been dealing with day in, all night long. It's bad out here. And to think that all we're trying to do is our law enforcement mission, and we have to deal with this, it's so un-American on so many different scales.
So this is going to be about kind of who is framing the narrative, you know, who is telling the story in a way that the American people believe. Meanwhile, they were now LA was largely peaceful last night because of Trump brought out the Marines, National Guards, coordinating with LAPD. It was largely peaceful, but not so. It's spreading to Seattle, and they're chanting Allah Akbar paired with Viva Palestine. This is what Seattle's dealing with now. It is spreading. It's a national movement. It is formally organized by anarchists and radical Marxists who are using illegal aliens, Mexicans, as their useful idiots to carry out their agenda. Okay, so they're all their normal masked cosplay outfit, Allahu Akbar, big violent crowds. This is in Tucson, Arizona. My Arizona people, what happened to your state? Why did you guys vote for evil Katie Hobbs? Look, here it is in Tucson. We love LA. Econo power from the 1970s. Stop ICE, and they have their Texas flag, rainbow. There's a rainbow umbrella and Mexican flag, and then some Palestinian propaganda in Tucson. This is branding. This is a fad, but it's a dangerous one. You know, fads have consequences, so terrible. Now, here's on the actual tax agenda. This is by Senator Eric Schmidt, who spells out how mostly Mexican illegals do not have to pay taxes so far on their stuff that they send back to Mexico. So the big, beautiful bill proposed a 3.5% tax. And then this Eric Schmidt, a Republican, is trying to increase it at least double or triple, maybe even quadruple it up to a 15% tax, which will pretty much end a lot of the financial incentive.
Like right now, if you're an illegal immigrant and you send money back to Mexico, there's no tax on that, right? So in the House version, they put a 3.5% tax on that. We were already working to double that on the Senate side, as that's come over here, I've filed that bill. That's an issue that's important to me. I think it does a couple things we can talk about, like discourage illegal immigration and fairness, because a lot of these folks are being paid under the table. Like Americans pay taxes, they should pay taxes too. And then the president of Mexico issues this threat that if this remittance tax goes in, we're going to rise up. It was very strange. And so I went on X and said, well, that's interesting. How about 15% now? And then the president of the Mexican Senate talked about it yesterday. And I said, well, how about 20%? So let's just keep going with this. But it is interesting. It's like 4% of their GDP is from this remittance that comes from the United States. And my position is, the United States of America is not your piggy bank. We're a sovereign country, and you ought to be taxed on these remittances. So I'm hopeful that we'll get that number up from the House bill on the Senate side.
4% of the entire Mexican economy comes from the tax-free stuff sent back from illegals dodging our taxes. Of course, Democrats support it. Biden used to say paying your taxes is patriotic. And then all the while, they've been trying to create a free carve-out for Hispanics. Now, this is about the messaging side of things, because this is very interesting. These are TikTokers who are all suddenly saying the same message. You tell me, are these words coordinated? This is them peer pressuring fellow online influencers, telling them you really need to support the LA riots and, undermine Trump.
Being in a country that you're in illegally is a civil offense, not a criminal one. You know what else is a civil offense? Jaywalking.
And being undocumented is not a criminal offense. It's a civil one. And if you've ever jaywalked, congratulations, because you've also committed a civil offense.
Have you ever sped over the speed limit? Have you ever drank or smoked underage? Have you ever drank and then driven a car? What about jaywalking?
Being undocumented in America is a civil offense. It's not a criminal one. It's the same caliber of crime as a traffic offense.
Just a reminder, in case anyone forgot, being undocumented is a civil offense, not a criminal one.
If you've so much as littered.
So we already have other videos coming out of people being offered $100 to $200 to go show up at these anti-ICE demonstrations. Where's the money coming from? Our Republicans are investigating it and getting to the bottom of it. Here's Margie Taylor Greene on this is Democrats want to turn our nation's capital into a sanctuary city for illegal alien criminals. I proudly support H.R. 2056 to stop the insanity. Washington, D.C. should protect Americans, not harbor MS-13 gang members. This is to prevent sanctuary cities for illegals. They're going to try and vote it into law.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of H.R. 2056, District of Columbia Federal Immigration Compliance Act, introduced by my good friend, Mr. Clay Higgins of Louisiana. Bringing in and harboring illegal aliens is not only a crime under federal law, but it is an absolute affront to the American people. As a matter of fact, it already says in our law under Title 8, Section 1324, that there are criminal penalties for any person who, knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that an alien has come to, entered, or remains in the United States in violation of law, conceals, harbors, or shields from detection, or attempts to conceal, harbor, or shield from detection such an alien in any place, including any building or any means of transportation. This is already our law.
So it's already the law. We just need to enforce it, but now they're going to have to underline it, make a special law to prevent states from creating sanctuary cities for illegals. Otherwise, it will not dry up fast enough. So here's Donald Trump post. He says, Los Angeles was safe and sound for the last 2 nights. Our great National Guard, with a little help from the Marines, put the LA police in a position to effectively do their job. They all work together, but without the military, Los Angeles would be a crime scene like we haven't seen in years. Governor Gavin Newsom, he calls him, had totally lost control of the situation. He should be saying thank you for saving his ass instead of trying to justify his mistakes and incompetence. Well said, President Trump. So LA, There's a little more control over it, even as ICE is blowing up and spreading, or anti-ICE protests are spreading because those radicals are being seeded out to other cities. Tucson, Seattle, Chicago. We already saw New York is being buckled down by New York PD. Dallas, this is going to keep spreading because it's organized and well-funded by the evil Marxist underground. Luckily, not by a ton of people, but it is being funded with a ton of money, and they're trying to expand it by paying TikTokers and protesters to make it look like it's bigger than it is. I'm Doug in Exile.